I sold my Sony A7R5, which had all the features a photographer like me would ever need. So why did I get rid of it? Well, stick around because I might help you think twice about what you actually need. I had the A7R5 for 1.5 years after ditching Canon like forever. I got the camera for its features, so the megapixels, the AI functions, the photo and video switch, the amazing flip screen that can tilt in every direction. And coming from Canon, the A7R5 could also do S-Log3 and give me so many video features that I didn't really have with the Canon cameras. Now, I didn't really use these features of the A7R5 too much. I feel like I never needed the megapixels. It was actually too much megapixels in terms of video noise. All in all, I feel like I had a pretty overkill camera for what I was doing at that time. Now, my new camera is, drumroll, the A7C II. Now you might have seen a lot of creators actually switching to this camera and downgrading, just like I have done here. And all these creators' reasons for downgrading to the A7C II is pretty much the same. Often you buy these cameras and they might not be needed, a Sony A1 or something. So this is what I need for now in terms of the photo specs. The small size for traveling is what I love about it. It is a little bit tiny for work, and you can also see the video I made about working with this camera. I'll put that somewhere right here. But it does what I need. The 33 megapixels is more than enough. I noticed with my Sony A7R5 that I never ever cropped into my images too much. I shoot for the final image and I rarely crop in. This is more like when I do video shoots, which I mostly do right now, this comes in handy when I need to do those stills. When I hopefully one day get my Sony FX3, then that could be the A camera for video, and this can just be like a stills camera on the side. I haven't experienced any overheating like people say it can do. I live in Norway. It is barely 20 degrees Celsius here, so I don't know if this will ever overheat on me. So this one does everything that the Sony A7R5 could do in terms of video, except 8K, but I never use that. The A7C II has better dynamic range and LUT support, which is basically two of the reasons why I switched from A7R5 to this one. LUTs is something that is so great to have, and seeing the final image, how it will look like inside the camera, gives me so much confidence. I don't need to put on a monitor every time I want to see a grade on my footage right away. The better dynamic range also comes in handy. Remember, the A7R5 has a 61 megapixel sensor and this one has a 33, so it helps with the low light performance, the dynamic range. This is more of a video camera than the A7R5, in my opinion. Also, talking about a lot of cool things you can do as well, you can actually shoot in aspect ratios with this camera in photo mode, which gives me like this really cinematic framing. When you bring it up in Lightroom, it is still the full frame, but you can see in the camera how it would actually look if you crop the image, which is a really nice feature and I love it. I use it all the time. Wish every camera had this. I never thought that micro HDMI was so flimsy and loose, but I quickly learned that, wow, micro HDMI is pretty shit. So I bought a cage with like a safety screw so I actually don't yoink the cable and break the port. And these flappy covers are also a little bit flimsy and not that robust, but it still has all the ports that I need for professional production, and that is really nice to have. Memory card is also reduced to 1 instead of 2. I don't really use 2 memory cards, even though I had 2 slots, so this is not the biggest deal for me, but you know, if there was a wedding to come, then I would need 2 memory card slots. Another downside, I have mentioned this before about Sony cameras, these pointy camera strap holders are awful. When I record stuff, I hold my hands like this and it digs its way into my palms, so I don't really like that. The A9 III also has this pointy thing pointing upwards, so it really doesn't affect this pain that you get. Rolling shutter is also something that I don't really love about these tiny cameras. and consumer cameras, they tend to have a lot. The Sony FX3 is way better, and that is what I opt to have as my A camera anyway, but I would like to see these have maybe a global shutter in the future, or at least better rolling shutter. If you wonder what lens this is actually the Helios 44-2. Nice old Soviet lens that gives you really nice blurred out backgrounds. Really unique look on this one. Really nice balance in the hand. So to sum this up, the compact size, the LUT support, the better dynamic range for cheaper is what led me to buying this camera and downgrade from the beast of what the A7R5 actually is. And the extra money that I actually saved by going for this downgrade, I bought 24-70 2.8 G Master number 2, which has this beautiful aperture ring. The previous one I feel like was pretty heavy, and this one is so light. It is so quick working with this lens. I can lock the zoom, I can lock the aperture ring, I can declick the aperture ring so it's actually smooth. So this is kind of what I ended up with. I love that it is so tiny that I can actually rig it up if I want to, but have it this size if I also want to. That's why I love that you can strip this down to what it is right now.